All right, Event Trader here. Just gonna go through the week ahead. It's obviously been a pretty quiet Friday, a little calm before the storm. As Jim and I were talking about, we've been gliding higher. Now we're towards session highs at 30.15 at the moment in the S&P. The Nasdaq, for its part, sitting also just below session highs at 79.58 at the moment, and then with the diamonds, we got them up at 27,278, also near session highs. So just a nice bleed higher in a typical Friday trading type session. Next week, we're going to get a lot more information though to fill in and try to figure out exactly where we are headed. Certainly a lot of talk about this upcoming earnings season, and it's going to get underway in earnest. So let's take a look at the week ahead, July 15th to the 19th, and first thing, look at some of the key themes. And of course, as I just mentioned, earnings will be front and center for a lot of people. This is going to give us the corporate side of the economy. We've gotten plenty from the Fed and from macro data over the last couple of weeks, but it's been relatively quiet on the corporate side. Certainly Micron and FedEx didn't paint the greatest picture, but with monetary policy coming in, there's the idea that perhaps we're hitting a bottom on the weakness and just the overall corporate and business spending side, and that we could be looking at upside going into the back half of the year, and perhaps a nice little rally. Seen a lot of 3,500 being called in the S&P. As we start getting this Q2 data, we'll get a little bit better idea if that's the case. Financials and transports are going to be the dominant theme, and that's always important for the U.S. economy. Obviously, getting good health of what kind of demand there are for loans is going to be one of the key items of the financials, and just the overall health of the customers and the business that they're doing with them. And then, of course, transports as well, giving us a little bit more harder data on the flow of the economy. I mean, this is the two combined really, or the circulatory system for the U.S. and the economy. So, going to be really important to see what they have to say, and the results will also be of importance. But I think it's really more the forward outlook that people are looking at. We got a little bit of a pass, I feel, with better than feared results being the most likely scenario. We talked a lot about some of the early earnings that we've seen out there, and they're outpacing on both the top, bottom, and mixed lines as well in terms of beats. So that usually has an 83% correlation according to Bank of America. So that bodes well for this upcoming earnings season, and we're going to see if that indeed is the case. Of course, with the market as high as it is, my better than feared expectations might not post as much of a boost as one would expect. So that's what we're really going to be looking to see play out. Just to go back, some of the big names. Monday we got Citigroup and JBHT, the trucker, of course. Tuesday we've got railed plays CP and the Canadian Pacific and CSX, and we also got airline UAL as well. And then on the bank side, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and Goldman are all out on Tuesday, and we also get Johnson & Johnson. Wednesday we got ABT, Abbott Laboratories, out. We got Bank of America, Bank of New York Mellon, CMA, Comerica Bank, Eric, so a little bit of a tech flow there as well. There are a couple of tech names, and we'll get into them as we go along here. Alcoa's out that night. CCI, get a little bit read into that 5G space. And then Wednesday night's going to be heavy on the tech side with eBay, IBM, and Netflix. Thursday, we get Blackstone and Morgan Stanley. On the financial front for transportation, we get UNP out early in the morning. We're also going to have Honeywell for a little inside look at industrials, and Nucor on the steel side. UNH, United Healthcare, still holding that. That's marching towards that 270 level that I had earmarked. It's at 265.91 at the moment. So that's turning in a nice call. And we also got Capital One that morning. So a little bit of the financial consumer behavior. Then in the afternoon, should be interesting. Microsoft will certainly be the big name, but also getting a rare first week look at some of the IPOs out there with CHWY and crowdsource, CHWY and CRWD respectively. all reporting. And then finally moving on to Friday, a little bit more on the financial side with BlackRock and American Express out. Cleveland Cliffs get a little look at those miners. Kansas City Southern, so one more rail name coming out. And then first starting to look at some of the energy space with Schlumberger, SLB, due to report earnings. So big week for earnings, as we can see. Next up for the key themes, we got the U.S. Econ Data, and certainly I don't think anything that we're going to see over the next couple of weeks is going to take that rate cut off the table, but what we want to be looking for is to see if we're in a one and done situation or if we're in a cycle, and we should start getting a little bit more information on that in the next week. Just taking a look at some of the big reports, forward-looking surveys. We got Empire Manufacturing on Monday. We got Philadelphia Fed on Thursday. And also I would note that we got NAHB, the housing market survey, out on Tuesday. In addition, with the consumer being so important and being a pillar of the economy right now, we're going to get Tuesday the June retail sales number, and then Friday we'll get the July Michigan sentiment preliminary number. So a little bit of a forward look there and some hard data as well on the consumer side. Other notables, June import-export prices continue the inflation story is out on Tuesday. June industrial production capacity utilization is also out on Tuesday. May business inventories, and then on net long-term tick flows, we saw some of the weak bond auctions, so curious to see if China continues to cut. I would assume they do. Of course, we get the API and EIA data out Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday morning. Thursday we'll also get the June leading indicators, and then Fed speak, I think, has kind of been played out right now, but certainly should be of interest as we get the Beige Book on Wednesday. But in addition, Williams is going to be talking Monday. Powell, Bowman, and Evans are all out on Tuesday. And we got Bullard and Rosengren on Friday, and I believe Kashkari and Bostic are going to be out too. So pretty busy on that front. Then looking overseas, the big numbers are going to come out Sunday night and really help set the tone for us as China economic data for their GDP, industrial production, retail sales, and unemployment are all due out. I would note Monday Japan's going to be closed, so might be a little bit more volatility there on lower volume in reaction to the China numbers. Monday night, we get the Australia RBA minutes. Tuesday will be key as we get the German and Eurozone ZOO economic surveys. So a little bit forward-looking data there that I'm looking to see if we're starting to see a turnaround on the European side of things. And that's the main areas that we'll be looking at. Some other notables, I suppose Germany has got a 30-year bond auction. Canada's got some inflation, manufacturing, sales data out on Wednesday. The UK will get jobs on Tuesday and Wednesday, their latest inflation report. Also on Wednesday, Japan trade balance in Australia, jobs report due out. Thursday, some UK retail sales and the Bank of credit conditions are going to be released, and some Japan inflation numbers. And then Friday, we got German PPI and Eurozone current account numbers that will be worth watching. And finally, taking a look at some other items of interest. Amazon Prime Day is going to be Monday and Tuesday, so I don't have a number just yet on what the expectations are, but I will be sure to provide that for you in a timely manner. And then there's going to be a crypto hearing on Tuesday in the Senate and Wednesday in the House, which I'm sure is going to garner a lot of attention. Certainly the potential to impact Bitcoin and Facebook. But as you can see, it should be a fun week ahead, and hopefully, like I said, give us some of that volatility that we're looking for. Until then, keep buying the dip and just riding this higher until we see signs that this is starting to crack. But so far, none of that's really been apparent, but there is enough on the plate next week that could perhaps change that outlook. So going to be a good week and knock us out of this summer doldrums, at least for a couple of weeks of excitement, hopefully. So hope everybody has a great weekend, and feel free to write in feedback and we'll answer questions as we can. But everybody stay safe and happy trading, and we'll talk to you all early Monday morning.